Hi all, it's me, Aki from bring4th. This is set 53, part 1. And I'd like to talk in short about a few topics. There was a feminist fight in the forums, and I wanna talk about it a little bit, and I want to talk about sharia law. And in short, somebody posted on the forums saying that patriarchy is an STS model, to which I replied with no. And then a long thought out article or post that clearly covered why patriarchy is not an STS model, rather autocracy is an STS model. Patriarchy fights against autocracy, meritocracy fights against patriarchy, and so on. Socialism fights against meritocracy, and so on. So I said that all of these ideologies have a clear pyramid structure where you can see that the better one is opposing the worse one by offering a better alternative and trying to ignore the worse one. And this is what we should do with feminism, because another person brought up feminism in the... Actually, I brought up feminism, but another person answered my initial point about feminism and said their opinion, and I said that, in short, this pyramid structure of these different states... Damn, I forgot what I was going to say. This pyramid structure of these different states points to a model where you win the argument by offering ways to become better despite oppression, instead of just fighting oppression, because you can't have rights by fighting people who don't give you rights, because they will never give you rights. You will become better by fighting them, and then eventually you will have the system you wanted, but it won't be because they gave it to you. Now, my initial answer was still waiting for the moment when feminists realize they are the same as chauvinists and both of them get their act together and become equal right activists. But that's just me and my silly dream. That was my initial post, where I clearly say that I do not believe feminists are a good group, and I do believe that they don't support equal rights, they support female rights, and even those they do badly, they don't really offer a alternative. They say they should fight, and anybody who has fought oppression knows that you don't get rights by fighting your oppressor, you get a civil war. You get rights by offering a better alternative. So that is what I meant. And one of these other persons responded to me. I read a part here. They said, "Hi Cyan, I am a feminist. Do I seem chauvinistic to you? I likely love men more than most men do. I'm also a humanist, and I wish for better days for men, for children, for all races, people of every age, and for the earth. We are all one. I really dislike this topic, as there's a lot of ignorance, just because pain and fear and other distortions in the collective." To which I responded, yes, you seem like someone with an agenda, and that seems to be the agenda of female first instead of merit first. Perhaps a better word for what you're fighting is meritocracy, and what meritocracy fights is autocracy, or what rule of ability fights is rule of authority. In short, if your abilities don't make you capable of ruling or self-determination, then you should not have those things. This is how we deny children the right to vote. They do not qualify for a meritocratic or patriarchy. That being said, children should be allowed to vote immediately. They are just as much at risk of our mistakes as everyone else and should have the right to comment on it just like everyone else. On that thought, I think tourists should also have the right to vote. And something else they said was, feminist just means wanting to stand up for women. To which I responded, if we could get feminist movement to accept that it means female first, we could talk about this in an open set. But as long as feminists act like it's an equal rights movement, not a female movement, I want nothing to do with them and consider them the same group as other. Our group is more oppressed than your group, starting from the slavery compensations and ending with the military debates about power. On that thought, Equal Rights Amendment feminism mainly hates an Equal Rights Amendment Orient sector on heavy foot of government because it's humiliating. And while we're on the topic, let me take down a holy cow and eat for lunch. There is no gender wage gap. Videos all. That being said, even the highest true estimate of 6% for the real wage gap is for the real wage gap percentage is too much. Would it help you to get into perspective to say I'm bisexual and self-identify as both genders? I'm also entitled to say I'm a woman. And the debate goes like that for a while. I posted a long thought-out article about basically how fighting somebody who doesn't give you rights will not give you rights, and how feminism actually destroys the people it tries to support by making them fight the oppressor instead of building a better society. To which they responded, hi Cyan, you chose to put a lot of preconceived perceptive filters over who I am and everything I said. I think you applied those same filters to history. That's okay. I was just trying to show you a different view of what you think you see when you look at women standing up for themselves. You choose not to see me, so I will stop offering. I do not fight. And I said very specifically earlier here that something along the lines of, women could never have held their place in STA society in that system. However, if you want an STO, STA society, we all have to advocate for it, not by fighting women and other races trying to advance for equality, but by helping each other do so. To which I responded, I believe fighting with each other is an integral part of learning to communicate with one another, and only hope that said fights do not cause permanent damage. And I in no way make an effort not to fight, as that is what we are here to do. Enjoy the illusion of separation and the possibility of fighting another self that is completely illusionary, to contemplate perfection in silence. So in short, I will continue to fight women just as I will continue to love women, and from my point of view, you are fighting ineffectually as you are trying to defeat someone stronger than you in a one versus one battle, instead of using your natural advantage of longer lifespans to generate a 1 versus 1.1 situation in which your superior numbers would do the trick. You are bringing the attention and the power onto patriarchy to change your lives, instead of bringing attention of how you may fight as a group to make patriarchy irrelevant, not destroyed. A enemy you fight like this in a head-on battle will win because you do not offer a solution. You offer a list of demands to their solution to patriarchy. They said I do not fight, which is clearly, in my opinion, impossible. As those close to me would tell you, I am a lover, not a fighter. So as with all things, I will let you fight with others who also choose to do so. I hope you are well. To which I responded, that is a freedom to do so, though I doubt that without conversation on these hard topics, understanding will be gained to be well. Then somebody quoted my entire post without compressing it, even though it was like 3 pages long, and said, you're the Cyan who created a thread asking for B4 members to directly send you our money so you can get out of debt and play the stock market and save for your retirement, to set a crowdfunding page for you because you couldn't be bothered with the hassle. To which I responded, yes indeed, I did ask for help from the community when in trouble. Whatever, do you feel my opinion disqualifies me for group help? To which they responded with a with a post that I won't read, and the person who said that they won't fight with me answered them about me and started talking about me in the third person and said that my problem is probably poverty. And I responded with, "Thank you for your response. I disagree near entirely, and I think that asking for help from the community when in a hard time is part and parcel of why the community is here. Perhaps the reason you are missing is that unemployment in social states is usually twice as high as in capitalist states, so the unemployment here is twice as bad as in what would probably be the society you observe. I also studied at university extensively and am currently in the unemployment program by the state with orders to continue studying, which I am doing. I apologize if my opinions offended you, and I hope you find what you're looking for." I said university because they said, "If you expand a quarter of the effort you just did to diminish people struggling for a fair world and writing job applications or studying at university, you'd be in a much better position. But of course, just like setting up your own GoFund page, that'd be too much of a hassle."
Hetki!
Right. I'm butt naked.
On sulla ruokaa.
Ei mulla saa.
On sulla jotain.
Ei mulla saa.
Jotain sulla.
Ei mullakaan.
On sulla jotain. On sulla jotain. Anna nyt.
Ei oikeesti, älä täällä valittaa. Ei mulla oo mitään.
Eikö sulla oo mitään?
Ei mulla oo mitään saakkaa. Mä oon itekin keräämässä pulloa.
Makavaa niin.
Ei mulla, kun mulla on niin vähän, niin mulla ei oo mitään. Ei mulla oo mitään. Ei mulla oo, jos mulla olisi mä antaisin, kun ei mulla oo mitään.
One of the other patients asked me for food and I couldn't give them anything. I'm also collecting bottles for money and it makes me about $2 an hour, and the Western subway line is open. There are no immigrants there. It's very specifically kept to be for only the natives. And it's cleaned at 1 o'clock in the evening. It's not cleaned at any other point. The trash cans are full, so you can just go from trash can, search to next trash can, search like I do, and you make about $2 an hour. It's not much, but it will buy you food. It's just enough to buy you food. One meal here costs $1.10, so you can make that in about half an hour. That's about 200 kilocalories if you have running speed or like rushing speed, and about perhaps 50 if you work comfortably, or perhaps 100 if you work comfortably. The meal will get you like 400 to 600 kilocalories because it's a cheap kind of meal, but it will get you food. If you work there enough to earn $4 or $5, you will make enough for 3 or 4 meals, which is 200 kilocalories. That'll take you 2 hours of work for a full day's meal. You also get free housing here by applying for it, so you don't actually need to work so much that you get a house. You only need to work so much that you get your meals. And if you are living on Social Security, which everybody can live over here, they will get you food. So in short, I don't have food at the moment because I'm also collecting bottles. So anyway, that they said if I'd expend energy to go to university, I would be in a much better position. And like I said, I actually do go to university, and the unemployment office is telling me to continue my college studies, and they are not hassling me at all. And I will probably continue my college studies and get my degree, but I had the psychotic episode and it paused me from studying at all. And they also responded by saying, I think sometimes people have enough catalysts so can simply not process more. For science, perhaps that is poverty, though I probably should not assume. It sounds like a hard thing in itself, though. To which I responded, I would say oppression for being in a minority in opinions like these is the largest catalyst, but I am glad to carry it. I feel I made a sizable positive contribution to the thread by offering a well-researched, thought-out opinion, but as I've stated, I apologize if it offended you. I meant no offense, but the answer to your question of do you appear militant as a feminist is a clear yes, and I stick by it. The response I received have been personal and not on topic directed, and going as far as to involve my finances and personal well-being. So like I've said, I doubt a person without a hard skin could feel safe contributing to the ideology. That being said, I don't feel like I'm suffering from poverty, but rather from a hardness to ask for help when needed. Even now, to keep the thread balanced, I should ask for another poster to continue with my line of reasoning while I leave the thread. This may be difficult. The next post by me is, in fact, you didn't answer me at all, Black. So I asked if my opinion made it more unsuitable for you to give me help, and you didn't reply. If I shared your opinion, like say a refugee in your country that would vote for your ideology, would that make helping me easier, or are you just against helping others? In short, are you against helping others or just helping white males? Or would it help if I were a white transgender? Would that make it easier for you to help? And my closing point is, actually I feel it is a spiritually better option to stop here as well. I feel the fight has taken a personal and not a topic related note, and I don't wish to aggravate, so I'll leave at this junction. I would wish for someone to continue with my points so the discussion can continue, but I feel I've done my part. I've had good dreams last night, and I feel the universe responded to my post in the positive. Once again, I apologize if I caused offense. I answered a question with that long thought-out answer as another poster remarked and not a quick entry. I'll be available to return to the thread if someone PMs me asking me to return or contact me via other means, but I'll end my participation here. I wish you all the best and hope we can get what I think is a hostility in the topic that doesn't benefit from it out and away, so we can discuss equality with an open heart. Thank you for participating and your responses. In short, one poster thinks feminism is a female-first ideology and attacks me for not supporting it. Another poster thinks feminism is an equality-first ideology and attacks me for not following it. So they're actually both attacking me, but they are more so attacking each other. And at this point, it's two women having a huge cat fight, and it's a good idea for me to back away slowly and go somewhere else. So yeah, that's the short of it. These kinds of fights occasionally happen, and it's not an impossibly big thing, but it is annoying to see a fight like this. So anyway, now the second point I want to discuss is Sharia law. People like to get shits and giggles by asking Muslims if Sharia law is more important than the state law or the constitution. Now, you need to understand that, of course it is. It's the religious law that guides these people's lives, and like any religious law, it should be above physical law, but physical law should not care. Physical law should apply itself to religious situations nonetheless. Now, Sharia law very clearly and very loudly states that if your state is not at active war with the state where you live, Sharia law demands that you place the constitution of that state above Sharia law. Sharia law demands to be placed second. So of course Sharia law is first, meaning that its desire to be subservient to the national ideology that of the nation where it's at is greater than the desire of the nation where it's at to actually have the people serve it, because the people have a desire to serve it that comes from within and not by state rule. So in short, of course, religious laws are more important than physical laws. And of course, physical laws should never care that religious laws are more important than them. Physical laws should still try to apply themselves, and their success in doing so is the definition of the physical state. And the people I can only assume that they have to go through hundreds of answerers before they get the kind of stupid Muslim answer, because I've worked with the media myself and I realized that this is what they do. They interview hundreds or thousands of people and then cut the few ones that actually fit their ideology into the public display. So, in short, it's dishonest to post those things. In short, the reality is that the historic long-term interpretation of Islam is that if your state is not at war with the state where you live, the laws of that state where you live are superior. And this is what the Islamic scholars were asking the West after the 9/11 attack. Will we respond with a war against Islam itself, or will we work with Islam to try to rid it of its influences on people who don't understand that you need to be subservient to the state where you're at? Because if you are not, you will cause a war between Islam and those states that you are in, and that will destroy Islam. Islam has always been very clear about this, that you do not have the right as an adherent of Islam to cause war for Islam. This has been, as far as I understand at least, very clear in Islam from the beginning. They have said always that religious political decisions come from the learned elders, not from the people on the street. The people on the street have no right to declare anything in favor or against Islam. It has to come from the learned elders. It has to come from the elite of the society. And if your society isn't at war with that state, you don't have the right to act in a warlike manner. And the Islamic wars of expansion essentially ended in the early 19th century. After Turkey's and the Ottoman Empire's fall, the Islamic world has declared peace with the West. They are not interested in another war. Now, before that time, there were the Islamic slave trades and there was wars between Islam and the West, and the situation was quite different because they were at active war with the religion of Christianity. They are still in a semi-active war with the religion of Christianity, but this is where Christianity and the West diverges. We are not a Christian society, we are a secular society, meaning that reason from physical evidence is more important than from religious evidence. And the Islamic community has had to step back and observe us as a new power, not a Christian power, a new power. And their rules are very strict. You cannot act in a warlike manner against someone who isn't acting in a warlike manner against you. That is wrong. So, in short, if somebody who is a Muslim, I'm not a Muslim, but if somebody who is a Muslim is asked if Sharia law is more important than the laws of the West, that is the answer they should give, in short. The Islamic laws demand that you are subservient to a state that you are not at war with, and they are not at war with West, they are at war with Christianity, and even that war is not an active one anymore. So, that's about the size of it. Ambassador extraordinary and plenipotentiary. May our people know peace and prosperity. There's one psycho cat. Watching Pat Gondel. The European Union is not actually the first attempt by a democratic system to have a European legal state. The first one was the Latin Union. It was fairly successful until it ruined its own economy by printing too much money. So, we're seeing a historic trend here. Now, I'm saddened personally to see the UK leave the Union, but I understand their reasoning. It's not difficult to understand why they prefer to stay independent, and it may actually be good for the European Union because we can eventually ask them to rejoin with better terms instead of the ones they had. A situation like this is where you should understand that you need to basically let them go. It's like a divorce. You can't help it. Now, I can only hope that we don't make the huge mistake of not having the English language as a primary in the European Union, even with this. As soon as we switch over to Germany as the primary, the rest of the European Union will die. Or France. Yeah, that's all for this update. I'm gonna go grab a smoke. I just watched the YouTube clip Cutner's death, and that was enough for me. Anyway, I hope all the people involved in these fights get better.